Hi, how are you doing? This is IBM-i By Doing. Welcome to IBM-i By Doing, a series of video sessions in which we do hands-on projects programming the IBM-i Midrange computer. I'm Madhu Vasudevan with over 20 years of IBM-i work experience at your service. The target audience is newbie programmers who want to learn RPG-4 or RPG ILE on IBM-i. We will mount our RPG bikes right on top of the Subfile hill and slide down the valley of data file processing in RPG-4 ILE. Just follow along. Working along with me, you will be able to do this. Early in this series, we will tackle the fabled RPG subfile, and we will create every possible variation of the subfile. We will create physical files, logical files, display files, printer files, and of course the RPG ILE programs to handle all these files. We will create some information display screens, some data entry screens, and generate some reports. Our subfile inquiry program will allow muggles to look up multiple train records in one screen. The search screen will accept a center name as input. After entering a center name, the muggle will press the enter key. Our program will pull up one page full of records of trains going to that center. If the muggle hits the enter key without inputting a center name, our program will pull up one page full of records of trains going to any and all the centers sorted alphabetically. If the plus sign is shown at the bottom and the muggle hits page down key, our program will pull up one more page of train records. This process can be continued until all requested data records have been loaded to subfile pages. After the last requested record has been loaded to the subfile, the plus sign will not show at the bottom of the last page. If user presses page down key when there is no plus sign shown, error message is shown and keyboard is locked. Finally, F3 may be pressed to quit the inquiry program and end the inquiry session. The city-wise trains information may be viewed by directly querying the physical file. We will run the query command on the physical file train set with the record select parameter set to view the records for specific centers. We will thus verify that our inquiry subfile is indeed working correctly. To keep me motivated to produce more of better quality free content, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBM-i enthusiasts. Hit the bell icon below to actively follow along with the rest of our series. Having created a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information, let's create an inquiry load page on demand subfile program. Launch the client 5250 terminal emulator. If you just signed into IBM-i, remember to do the two things: change current library to your project library and hit enter. To ensure that the dot is your decimal point symbol, change job, decimal format, *blank and hit enter. From command line, key in the command, work member PDM and hit enter. Ensure that the file opened is QRPGLE src and the library shows your project library and hit enter. Against the program source member train SFL2, type 2 and hit enter. We can edit our subfile inquiry program in SEU. However, SEU cannot prompt free format code, and SEU cannot understand control options or any of the declarations either, but it can understand the CSpec or calculation lines coded in free format between columns 8 through 80. Our main logic is within one page: check center subroutine, clear subfile subroutine, load subfile subroutine, and the read forward subroutine. Press F3 to exit SEU. Ensure that return to editing is no, and hit enter. You have to compile this member to create the program object train SFL2 which will be called by the muggles to look up trains information. Note that for successful compilation, the compiler will need to reference the logical file object transl and the display file object trainq2. Since both these external file objects are referenced by the program code, hence make sure that your project library is your current library before you compile the program member trainsfl2. From command line, key in the command dsplibl and hit enter. Ensure that your project library, in my case my second library, is the current library. Press F3 to exit the display. To compile this member trainsfl2 into a program object of the same name from the PDM screen, type 14 against the member name trainsfl2 and hit enter. You are prompted if you want to delete the existing program object. This is because you had already compiled this source code through Visual Studio Code. Key in a Y for yes and hit enter. The create bound RPG command compiles the source member and creates the program object of the same name in your current library, which is your project library. You should see the file created success message in the bottom. Press F3 till you are back in the main menu. Check on your program object, key in the command display library, your project library, and hit enter. You should see the program object trainsfl2. F3 out of the display. Key in the command display program, your project library /trainsfl2 and hit enter. Scroll down and review the program characteristics. F3 out of the display. Key in the command display program reference, your project library /trainsfl2 and hit enter. Scroll through the list of objects program trainsfl2 refers to. Note that logical file transl and display file trainq2 are listed. Their record format level IDs of both the files are captured within the program object. Hence, if structural changes are made to either the logical or the display file, program object trainsfl2 needs to be recreated by recompilation. F3 out of the display. Having created an inquiry load page on demand subfile program, let's run the inquiry subfile program. From the IBMi command line, key in call space your project library /trainsfl2 and hit enter. In the inquiry screen, enter the center LOSANG for Los Angeles and hit enter. Note that only trains for the city of Los Angeles are listed, ordered by the train numbers. Press page down. Note the error message. Roll up or down past the first or last record in file. Release the keyboard pressing the Control key. Page up also produces the same error message and locks up the keyboard. Press Control to release the keyboard. Press F12 and you're back in the center inquiry screen. In the inquiry screen, enter the center Boston and hit enter. Note that only trains for the city of Boston are listed, ordered by the train number. No plus sign at the bottom of the subfile listing, so if you press page down, you get the error message, roll up or down past the first or last record in file. Press Control key to release the keyboard. At any time, press F3 to exit the inquiry subfile program. To call the program from within PDM, key in the command start PDM and hit enter. Take the option to work with members, key in a 3 and hit enter. Ensure that the file opened is QRPGLE src and the library shows your project library. Hit enter. Note that the newly added member trainsfl2 does not yet have a text description. To change text, key in a 13 and hit enter. Key in the text load page on demand to subfile within bracket subfile size greater than subfile page, and hit enter. To call this program from within PDM, against the member name train SFL2, key in a C and hit enter. In the initial inquiry screen, enter the center London and hit enter. Note the center not found error message in the bottom. Release the keyboard pressing the control key. Blank out the center name field using the field exit key and hit enter. Note that all trains for all cities are listed alphabetically, and within each city trains are listed ordered by the train numbers. Note the plus key below indicating that there might be more records to load into the subfile. Press the page down key. This time you don't get an error message. Instead, more records have been loaded into another page of the subfile. You see more cities and train numbers and plus sign at the bottom of the subfile indicating that there might be more records to load. Press the page down key and you get more trains. Press page down key one more time. The last set of records have been loaded and shown in the subfile. There is no plus key in the bottom indicating that there are no more data file records to load into the subfile. Anyway, press the page down key. You get the error message. Roll up or down past the first or last record in file and keyboard is locked. Press Control key to release the keyboard and press page up and page up to scroll backwards through our subfile pages until you hit the very first page and a roll up past the first record error message is shown. Release the keyboard lock pressing the Control key. At any time, press F3 to exit the inquiry subfile program. Press F3 till you are back in the main menu of IBMi. Having run the inquiry load page on demand subfile program, let's query the train's physical file to verify the inquiry program output. Minimize this terminal emulator window and launch a second instance of the terminal emulation program TN5250. Sign on to the IBMi. To start a second session, hit enter, expand the window to full screen. As always, ensure that you are working on your project library, so key in the command change current library to your project library and hit enter. Ensure that your decimal point is the dot, so key in the command change job decimal format within bracket star blank and hit enter. From the IBMi command line, run the command work query and hit enter. In the work with queries command screen, tab over to library. Ensure that your project library name is listed. Press Shift plus Tab to move cursor to the query field and take an F4. In the work with query screen, the list of query file objects in your library is shown. Note that the query trainsetQY, which we created in our load all inquiry subfile hands-on session, is listed. Against the query trainsetQY, key in a 2 to change and hit enter. In the define the query screen, note that options specify file selections, select and sequence fields, select sort fields, and specify report column formatting have already been specified. Review our load all inquiry subfile hands-on session video. A link to our RPG4 playlist is available in this video's description. In the define query screen, select the query option to select records by keying in a 1 and hit enter. In the select records screen, under field there should be or key in the field name center, tab over, under test, key in EQ for equal, tab over, under value, key in the city name within quotes CHICAG for Chicago and hit enter. From Define Query screen, to run the report, press F5. Press the Windows key and the left arrow key to position this query report window to the left half of the monitor. We need to compare this report on trains to Chicago extracted from the train's physical file to our Inquiry Subfile program output for center input Chicago. Open the previously started IBMi session window. Press Alt plus Tab to open the previously started IBMi session window. Ensure that you are in the main menu with command line. As always, ensure that you are working on your project library. So key in the command, change current library to your project library and hit enter. Ensure that your decimal point is a dot, so key in the command, change job, decimal format, within bracket star blank, and hit enter. Call your load page on demand subfile inquiry program. Key in call space your project library /train SFL2 and hit enter. In the inquiry screen, enter the center CHICAG for Chicago and hit enter. Press the Windows key and the right arrow key to position this window to the right half of the monitor. Compare your program output on the right side to the query report output on the left side. If LHS equals RHS, we have QED. In the query report window, press F12 to exit the report. In the Define Query screen, select Query option to select records by keying in a 1 and hit enter. In the Select Records screen, edit the selection criteria. Tab over to Test and under Test, key in NE for not equal. Tab over, under Value, delete the letters between the quotation marks and hit enter. From the Define Query screen, to run the report, press F5. Roll up, noting the order of the cities and the train numbers. Note that there are 47 record line entries in this report. In your Inquiry Subfile program window, press F12 to return to the inquiry screen. Blank out the center input field with the field exit key and hit enter. Compare the cities, train numbers and their order. Press page down, again page down, and again page down. You had 3 pages of 15 lines and the last page of 2 lines, making it 47 lines in your output, which equals the 47 lines output by the query file on the left. Run a few more comparisons by changing the center in both the windows. When done, in the query output window, maximize the window by pressing the Windows key and up arrow. Press F3 to exit the query display. Press F3 again to exit the query. In Exit this query screen, for save definition, press Y for yes. For Run option, press 3 to not run the query after exiting. Also ensure that query name is trainsetQY in your project library and hit enter. Press F3 to return to the main menu. You may sign off your IBMi session. Close your second IBMi session window back in your program output window. F3 to exit out of your program. 90 to sign off this session. You may close your TN5250 terminal emulation session. Congratulations! As you can see, we have successfully marked all our milestones of our project list. We reviewed our logical file to access trains information city-wise. We created a display file with a subfile for inquiring on the train's information by showing a request screen. We created an inquiry load page on demand subfile program to pull up the train's information by inputting the city name. We ran the inquiry subfile program for specific cities and for all cities. And finally, we ran queries against the train's physical file to verify the output from our inquiry subfile program. For a mere crossing guard, you just presented a hypnotic session. The muggles in the PTA, Parent Teachers Association, are, well, happy, but not euphoric. The doomsday types are threatening that the program will blow up when the total number of destination trains hit the 10,000 records subfile size limit. The efficiency fanatics are grumbling that the subfile is getting bigger and bigger, consuming resources, heating up the environment, etc., etc. For the next set of videos, you want to make your inquiry subfile program future-proof and super efficient by loading only one page at a time. Only load the requested records onto the single page subfile, and only when the muggle presses the page down or page up key. A shout out to J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter fandom for fueling our imagination and providing all the data. To keep me motivated to produce more of such high quality free content, please subscribe to this channel, hit the like button below, leave a comment or two, and share this video with your colleagues, friends, and other IBMi enthusiasts. Thanks for watching. Until our next hands-on session, this is Madhu Vasudevan wishing you a very happy IBMi by doing. Stay tuned and hit the bell icon below to be notified of my latest and greatest project videos.